but it's not what we call a must-pass deadline in the sense that the government won't shut down if they don't do another coronavirus relief. People will be hurting, but on Capitol Hill, it won't be felt the way it's spelled out for regular people. So I really am skeptical that Congress is going to be able to put together a big-time bill in March, although it's not impossible. But listen, think of it this way, Stephanie. Very narrow Democratic majority in the House. Nancy Pelosi has 4 or 5 votes to spare. A very narrow majority in the Senate, no matter what happens in Georgia, and a new president. So and a House Republican minority in the House that thinks it's going to get the majority back. So very tricky legislative dynamics on deck here on Capitol Hill.
So all of this is riding on the Georgia Senate runoff. People have been suffering for 9 months. What's different now is that Congress wants to go home for Christmas. Garrett, let's get into a couple details. I know it's not easy. $600 in direct payments is nice, but eligibility is based on your 2019 tax return, when lots of people were employed. This year, that has changed. Millions of Americans have lost their jobs, lost their savings. Does that mean they're not going to be eligible for this money?
It depends on what your income was. We haven't seen the fine print on how to calculate the eligibility here, Stephanie, but this is part of the Republican argument as they set about crafting this bill. They wanted to try to target this money as directly as they could, as narrowly as they could, with the thinking being to get the most money to essentially the fewest number of people, the people who they believe need it the most. This has been controversial. I mean, there have been even Republicans, Josh Hawley of Missouri, the president of the United States, who said this money is not enough, that number should be bigger. But I think as part of the dynamics that Jake was just describing, as we go into the next Congress, a lot of Republicans who are willing to spend quite a lot of money earlier this year on the first relief bill, were willing to vote to pass these big tax breaks earlier in the Trump administration, are rediscovering their religion on debt and deficits, and have decided that they do not want to continue to spend in this same way as we head into a Democratic administration, and that put the brakes on a bigger direct relief to stimulative portion of this bill.
Jake, before we go, let's talk about carve-outs. The airline industry got their own designated massive carve-out, and the Restaurant Act fell by the wayside. While restaurants, over 100,000 are closed. They employ over 11 million people, and they face some of the toughest, most confusing restrictions out there. What's going to happen to them besides they have access to PPP, which, by the way, doesn't really suit the way restaurants are structured?
Yeah, well, listen, they have access to PPP, and they hope that restaurants will begin opening in the early spring. As you noted, that's very difficult. I don't know how they expect restaurants to survive, to be frank. There's a carve-out for movie theaters, for live music venues. Obviously, they've been hurt tremendously, and they mounted a big lobbying campaign to get in the bill. But yeah, listen, Congress has to pick winners and losers here. That's what Congress tends to do, and people inevitably fall by the wayside. There will be people who will be happy and unhappy with this. But again, as Garrett noted at the top, Stephanie, absolutely unbelievable that Congress is going to vote on $2 trillion of spending without reading the bill. I mean, just completely crazy. Republican leaders got pilloried for stuff like this when they were in the majority, and I am very surprised that they're going to do this in one day, but it has to move quickly.
They needed to move for months. We're going to be asking about those details.
All right, guys. Good morning.
In just a few moments. Jake, Garrett.
So we are looking. We're just looking real quick. So we're looking at Moderna. Moderna's one stock we're looking at now. It sold off massively pre-market. I thought it was going to go the reverse, to be honest with you. So I do kind of like the fact that it has sold off pre-market. Gives us more of a discount, because I think that with the vaccine rolling out over the weekend, this should pop real nice.
When we talk about the hundreds of thousands of lives lost due to the coronavirus, I want to make sure you remember that these are people, fathers, sons, mothers, friends, sisters.
It is high compared to what it used to be, but it's low if we look at the fact that it's already sold off compared to where it came from. So what do we do real quick? So right now we're on the 5-day 5-minute. So we can see here that it's all the way down here at the support levels. Now I'll show you the support level on the 180. So if we look,
even when Michelle was at her sickest,
This is the support level going back at the beginning of the month, right? This is pretty much where it took off. You know, it came back down here, bounced back up here, came back down all the way here. Okay, went up, came back down. So our next level of resistance would be 144, 157. So I'm shooting for 157, or at least 144. So if we go to 144 at least, which would give us a $5 gain, knowing that this stock can do that as of late, all the way from since back here. And this is last month, the ending of last month is when this has started to pick up. Okay.
As a technical director at 3M,
and then we take a look at the 10-day.
my team helped
As you can see, the next level of resistance is 44.24, which can very easily jump up there. I don't see any news of why this is going down. The only thing is just the stimulus package.
we know that what we do helps more people get
They already made a deal with that, so that's going to be rolling out. Then we have the vaccine rolling out. So I don't know if this massive run that it had yesterday was the inclusion of the vaccine, because I mean, look, this thing went from 136 all the way to 144.
Introducing Fidelity Income Planning. We look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and help you build a flexible
That's what it's like an $8 run, and then look at over here when it went up again. So 138 all the way to 147. It's a $7 run right there. It's a massive run. And then even after this pop here, so from how far it went up to 141 all the way down to 134. So $6-7 drop right there. But if we look at the broad picture of it, so if we take a look at the 180 on this, okay, you can see that the high is 178, but before that, this lived in this area right here. As you can see, it steady lived around this area. So it's high compared to what it used to be, because the high here was 93.98. That's going back like 4 or 5 months. But recently, it's already at its low compared to back here. This is where it took off. Okay, so we're already touching that. So I am liking this for at least a $5 run today.
20+ legends from all 4 cities unite to reveal 28 seasons of secrets.
I did not want to be on TV. Y'all went all the way crazy.
Will spill.
We had to escort her off the trip by her wig.
Always keeps a good tea.
Love and Hip Hop Secrets Unlocked. The 4-week special event starts Monday, January 4th at 8.
I need to sell my house. Now, there are a lot of places that claim to know how much it's worth, but they don't really know my house or my neighborhood. And they definitely don't show me all my options. That's where HomeLight comes in. I just answer a few questions, and HomeLight gives me a side-by-side comparison of my options, personalized for my needs.
All right, let's talk about NEO real quick. So Moderna's on the charts. That's the very first one we're looking at. Okay.
No matter how you choose to sell, selling starts at HomeLight.
Let me get rid of this real quick.
HomeLight.com.
All right, so let's jump into NEO real quick. And I do like where NEO is at right now. I mean, Moderna. Moderna's right here at the support level.
A variant that scientists warn could be 70% more contagious.
I don't want to jump in yet because I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know why it's trading low. I mean, if Pfizer, I don't know what Pfizer is. What is Pfizer doing?
Is luckily safe in London, but with some really concerning news. Kier, what do you know about this new strand of the virus?
Also trading lower.
I don't know very much, and that, in a way, is one of the most concerning aspects. What they have is a mathematical analysis which suggests that it's more infectious. They don't have lab evidence yet. That takes a lot longer. What they're doing is locking down. I think you have to think back to Wuhan, China, to understand the kind of level of lockdown you need to control a virus. Remember, in the early days of the coronavirus itself, they have locked down London here. There are around 30 countries now banning flights from the UK, but we have seen people fleeing.
All right, so NEO sold off massively, as you can see here. Now, the news on NEO is the only thing here is that Trump signs bill that could lead to delisting of Chinese stocks, including NEO and Lee. That's a scary thing. So we all thought that NEO is safe. Apparently, it says here NEO shares are trading lower on Friday. President Trump signed a bill that could lead to the listing of some Chinese stocks. Increased fears of new coronavirus strain in UK is also weighing stocks down. So everything's sold off. So we take a look at the 10-day chart real quick. Okay, you can see that it's currently at support, okay, or close to support, which would be 44.31. That being the resistance that it couldn't pop over. Then it finally did, came down, broke that resistance, traded above that resistance, used that as support. So now it's support here. It was support over here. Now it's support here again. So our next level of what it could reach would be these levels here. So 46.98, 47.43, and 48.60. Believing that this for sure can get right here at least to 46.98. Okay, we don't put the whole 47 because it didn't reach 47. That's as far as it reached. So we, even by one penny can just say I don't want to touch that last penny that you got to sell. We're gonna go right back down. All right. So and then NEO. So we look at the 5-day. Right. So NEO has. It doesn't look like it has room, like it's already been zoomed, right? But if we take a look at, so this is the 10-day. So look at the 5-day. Also, doesn't look good, right? Because it dropped down here at least. If we take a look at the 180 chart, though, the 180 tells us a different story. So, right now we're currently right here, 44. Okay, so we have 3 levels, or actually 2 levels, real quick: 44, 48. Okay, these are the first 2 levels that it can definitely reach. So it's already past 44. So 47 and 48 would be the next levels it can reach, because we know NEO can go there. But with the fear of being delisted, I'm not too sure. And then the whole COVID strand, the new COVID strand, I guess.
That's the first thing. Second thing, I think it shows
new variants of COVID-19 spreading rapidly in UK. So a new variant in the so.
It turns out that
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. So DKNG is now trading at the support level of Friday's session. So we do like DKNG as well. It is a little higher compared to the other ones that we're looking at. And then Wish also, real quick. We'll look at Wish, because Wish is one we're looking at as well. So we have to look at the lower time frame. We can see that right now it's currently trading back up towards resistance and support from yesterday, being 23.75, and then 24.75 being the high from there, 23.75 being the high of Thursday. So that's a decent level right there that we can maybe consider riding this, seeing that it's still in decent territory. Okay, so but we're gonna look at Moderna. Going to be the first stop. So we're going to do Moderna for a $5 run.
Give his comments and disparage the governor. The governor's managed New York better than most other cities in the United States. We have to realize that most of the virus in the United States has come from Europe via planes into New York City. That's why the city where I live was hit first. And I think the governor is right. He doesn't want to happen again. This is something, we may already have some of it here, but the more...
So Moderna looks like it's starting to pick back up. It's still right here at a decent level.
To stop travel.
NEO is picking back up. NEO is actually going back to the low of yesterday. It's coming back up from the low of yesterday. Okay, so we see here Moderna starting to ramp up.
Slightly different judgment is we should get the vaccines first, but I think that's a good call. It's the most vulnerable people.
Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put this to single, and then we'll just put in the stop later. So with a minute 30 left,
the bus drivers, the people
NEO is starting to ramp up.
And we already know have the highest exposures because they're out
In between the average and the support, as we can see, DKNG starting to sell off, and then Wish being another stock that we're actually looking at as well. Whereas Wish is starting to pick up, going past the high of Thursday. So we'll see. So I do like the fact that DKNG is selling off. I don't see any recent news of why this thing would go down.
That featured the president and his continued baseless efforts to overturn the decided election.
So we're gonna give this about a minute before. I mean, this might just pop up, and if it starts to go without us, then we'll look at the other stocks that we're looking at, because I want this to be a $5 run. So let's just say we get in from where we're at right now, right? Say 140, 141 we get in, right? So we're looking to sell this at least right here. Now, can it reach that? Seeing that it's already overbought on the RSI.
Outside in the cold. Animals who've been abandoned and neglected, who are freezing with no shelter. And every moment they spend suffering could be one moment too late. Please call this toll-free number or visit joinaspca.org with your $19 monthly gift now. We need 3,000 new donors in the next 30 days so we can rescue more animals this winter. Please find it in your heart this holiday season to help them. Go online or call.
I need Moderna to sell off for me in order for me to jump in on this. It's way too high. If I jump on in, it's not going to go where I want it to go. NEO starting to sell off.
It's the season of giving.
DKNG looks like it wants to jump back in. So we can see Wish starting to pick up.
I thought I was in control until I wasn't.
I needed a fresh start. I needed help.
So we're gonna go ahead and look at NEO. This is NEO. We might see NEO pop up and then come back down. It's already gone up almost $1.
Charged with proper nutrition and found new passions. I took control over my life. I found my harmony at Harmony Place, and you can too.
So we knew Moderna was gonna pop up. It's still overbought for me. So all our lines are telling us to get in. It's not overbought yet for NEO, and we see Moderna going up. You see that where it goes to overbought and it just stays there. Now that's what I was hoping NEO was going to do the other day. It didn't do that for us the other day. It's just that little mini pop. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm not going to put a trigger on this, an automatic trigger.
They were so stress-free. The whole process was amazing, and I would definitely recommend it.
And we see that Moderna's going up to where I said it was going to go. I would have jumped in, but it was at a decent level opening. It just was too fucking. I was at this overbought level. You know, you want to be safe. It's like it reached its limit. So I am no longer looking at Moderna. I'm gonna be looking at DKNG and NEO. It looks like I'm gonna start with NEO real quick. Even though it has that little risk of being delisted, So I'm gonna go ahead and take a starter pretty soon. And right now, Moderna is out of reach for me. So is DK&G. DK&G, actually, yeah, it's already approaching the resistance, so it's a little too high for me. So we're gonna look at Wish. We can see Wish is starting to come down.
Well, it's that great to see. Well, here's what we know based on our collective team reporting. We know that President Trump on Friday convened what turned out.
So I need Moderna to come down for me quite a lot, actually.
It started as an impromptu gathering and ultimately devolved into a shouting match. Now, in the room were his fringe attorney.
So I do want to jump in here real quick. The level 2 says. So we're gonna go ahead and get a starter right there. We're probably gonna hold on to this for a couple days. I will give this a trigger, although I don't think it'll reach it. 45.96.
Guilty to lying to federal investigators about his conversations with the Russian ambassador. President Trump ultimately pardoned Michael Flynn. Now, during the meeting, a source tells us that President Trump considered naming Sidney Powell a special counsel to look into voting fraud that we know does not exist. And the New York Times reports that Flynn discussed with President Trump something that Flynn had talked about on TV a day earlier. And that was this notion of President Trump invoking martial law, sending the U.S. military into swing states to effectively
46.52.
That's what the Times reports. President Trump is refuting that in a tweet he denied.
So we're gonna do a 55 cents
But it prompted
with this. We're gonna sell it right here.
The Army, though, took the unprecedented step of putting out a statement saying that the U.S.
I only bought 6.
has no role in determining the outcome of an American election. So the bottom line is this. President Trump has exhausted all legal avenues to essentially steal away Joe Biden's victory. And so now you have apparently senior Trump administration officials who are concerned about what he might potentially do next, Steph.
The Army had to come out and say, no, this is not true. This is insane. Jeremy, the average person out there doesn't know who Sidney Powell is. You just did a deep dive into her career. Help us understand, unless you're somebody who regularly consumes right-wing media, you don't know her.
That's right. Well, she burst onto the scene and to the attention of the Trump administration by representing Michael Flynn. And this is a case that has become a cause célèbre on the right by people, allies of the president, who believe that the rogue FBI and various other deep state actors, as they would describe them, railroaded Flynn. And when Sidney Powell took up his cause, that earned her the president's ear. Then she started floating conspiracy theory claims about the election right after November 3rd. And while she didn't get enough attention, probably that she deserved for making these wild and outlandish suppositions about what happened with voting machines and Dominion, she really is the one who inserted the most far-fetched, craziest scenarios into the dialogue. And she was a guest on the Rush Limbaugh program. She was a guest on Mark Levin's program. She started appearing on Newsmax, Fox Business, and really, despite the fact that the president had to disavow her when she said she was going to, quote, blow up Georgia.
So I'm going for a 55 cents run. I didn't realize I had it already set for Moderna's run.
The president's inner circle gets smaller and smaller, and he becomes more and more detached from reality. He becomes angrier and is snapping at everyone around him.
So I got in. Fuck. This might bite me in the ass, but we'll see. Hopefully, he can do that 55 cents run for us.
Reality, and we're all myth busting what he's saying. He's the current president of the United States, and I want to talk about who has his ear. Because besides Sidney Powell being in the room, and let's remind people, she told people don't go vote in Georgia in the Senate runoff come January. Michael Flynn is in the room.
So our cost base is
4 years ago, this very week, was having those inappropriate phone calls with Russia that he then lied about. Now he is back in the Oval Office, raising the prospect prospect of martial law. Can we let it sink in that he now has the president's ear?
That's where we got in. That's the cost base. I didn't look at the amount of shares that I had entered in, because I was ready to get Pfizer or Moderna.
The fringe is calling the shots in this White House, and while there used to be more guardrails around the president of the United States that would, have prevented.
So our cost base went up a lot.
Law being invoked from ever being uttered. This is just the reality.
But I wanted to hold on to this for a couple of days. Because if I do that, I'm gonna do it for a lot more share, a lot bigger, win instead of 55 cents. But I don't know if it's gonna even reach 55 cents today. 55 cents is where I'm gonna leave it. So we're gonna see if this is gonna take a nosedive. It already took a nosedive. It reclaimed half that back. So we could definitely see this drop a little more before it climbs back up. See Wish starting to pick back up. We see that Moderna reached a high of, what was this? 144.94. So about 6 cents below what we originally wanted. We wanted 145.
Into many of our government systems, some of our very sensitive government systems, into Fortune 500 companies. And what we're trying to determine now is this espionage. Were they hacking into getting information against us, which is very bad? Or is it even worse? Are they looking at denial of service attacks? As you mentioned, the Department of Energy has been hacked. That controls our nuclear power.
Markets are red right now. We could sell this even right now, and we'll be green like $1. Not much.
Forcefully against this attack. Unfortunately, he's doing what he always does with respect to Russia, and trying to deflect and move attention away from this attack. This is really striking to me. I'm a former Russian policy officer, and I will tell you from the start, his attitude towards Russia has been very concerning. And we saw in Helsinki when the United States intelligence said that Russia had hacked into our elections in 2016. The president said, no, I asked Putin. I mean, imagine that. He refused when I was in the...
So we knew this was going to go down. So I might just put up my cost base, or might lift my trigger.
This is a president that does not want to hear about Russian aggression, and he certainly has not handled it appropriately.
Moderna was already at overbought when I wanted to get in, even though it was at a decent level. I knew it was going to come down. I would have did a $5 trigger. It wouldn't have hit our $5. We would have lost on that one. We're currently losing right now on NEO. So we'll see how far down NEO can go for us. I'm hoping that after its massive drop that it's going to go up for us. I should have got, we still would have, so we got in right here previously. So 45.97, we got in right here. This is where we originally got in. So, 20 cents up. But that's because I didn't pay attention to how many shares I had. I already had it set for Moderna. It's what we were going to get. But it was already overbought. And I don't know if it's going to... It might continue to run past that, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do is, just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and put an alert there just to see if it does reach what I want it to reach, which is not far from there, to be honest with you. That was a beautiful run early morning. So we'll see. I kind of fucked myself over with NEO. I ended up taking a...
This doesn't. Why are you okay with signing on to a carve out for the
15 cents. I got in 15 cents higher than my original buy-in.
Restaurant after restaurant already closed or on the
That kind of screwed us up. Even, you know, knowing that we're in jeopardy of being delisted.
I wanted very much to have them in this bill. But unfortunately, we don't have control of the Senate. We don't.
I kind of see Neo dropping like a few bucks before it picks back up.
Like I said, make sure that we are getting done what we can in the near term, and hopefully we can get another piece of legislation passed once we have Biden as president.
We'll see. All right, thank you so much, and have a great holiday. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Coming up next, how the markets are responding to both this new stimulus bill, but with also the worries of this
The market is red right now. So we'll see. So right now it's using the average as support. The average. Where's my?
Number 1 for diabetic dry skin. Number 1 for psoriasis symptom relief. And number 1 for eczema symptom relief. Gold Bond. Champion your skin.
Why did you invest in gold?
Where did I leave it?
Are you living in the past? In a digital world, gold shouldn't weigh down your portfolio. You see where things are going. Digital currencies like Bitcoin are the future. They're secure, borderless.
So as of right now, this is the level of resistance 46.29, and it's using the average as support. So it's been using that for quite a minute. So we might see this drop before it pops.
Or 10, then easily and automatically pay your team and file payroll taxes. That means world domination. Or just the West Side. Run payroll in less than 5 minutes with Intuit QuickBooks.
The first 3 months we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me over $6,000 in engine repairs.
I saved $4,100 out of pocket. Amazing, amazing.
Customers everywhere agree, if your car is out of warranty, you need to call CarShield before your car has an expensive breakdown.
Without CarShield, there was no way that I could afford to get my car fixed.
An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown can cost you thousands of dollars, but not with CarShield, America's #1 car protection provider.
CarShield saved us $4,000. That was great, right?
We're just happy with CarShield. They put a transmission in it and a motor. Who does that?
CarShield makes sure you don't have to pay for expensive car repairs.
The components that we're using are not getting cheaper. So nowadays, coverage is even more important.
CarShield covers most makes and models from 5,000 to 150,000 miles.
Easy, affordable, and no long-term contracts.
Customers realize that they're getting a $1,000 job for $100. They're excited. I've had customers who were so happy that they did break down into tears of pride.
We saved over $6,000 on a complete engine rebuild of our truck.
With CarShield, I saved over $3,600. It's a no-brainer.
I never have to worry about being taken advantage of when it comes to car repairs.
It's like having a suit of armor around my car.
Cars will break down, and those breakdowns could cost you thousands unless you call CarShield today and get the protection you deserve.
CarShield saved me in excess of $10,000.
And when you call, you'll also receive at no extra cost roadside assistance, towing services, and rental coverage.
The car's out of warranty.
It's like where she's coming back down. DK&G. Where is DK&G at? Where's Jemiah at?
Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed.
It's a nice $3 run on Jemiah. Beautiful.
800-587-5616.
That was very reachable right there, where it was at. I do like that. DK&G. Looks like DK&G doesn't know what it wants to do right now. We do know that Neo wants to fall. The Bears are trying to win this battle. Let's see if they can prevail. We don't want them to. We want them to fail. So we do know that the Bulls won to get it to this level right here. 45-92. Now it's a battle between both the Bears and the Bulls to make sure that this thing stays where it's at and comes back up here. So we'll see. Right now the Bears are winning the battle.
And Japan. It's a new world of experience at your fingertips.
Interactive personal training.
I think the spec of any good news comes out, even the smallest, would make this thing pop.
fears of that potential new coronavirus strain in the UK. That dropped despite the deal being reached on economic relief in Congress. And we are watching the Justice Department this morning. We're in the next hour. We're expecting new charges to be filed against a suspect in connection to the 1988 bombing of a Pan Am passenger plane. Attorney General Bill Barr is set to make the announcement today, exactly 32 years after a Libyan man allegedly built a bomb and detonated it on the 747 jumbo jet passing over Lockwood in Scotland, killing 270 people. And today, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris...
There he goes. We knew this was going to happen.
She will be there to rally for the Democratic Senate candidates, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. That special election is exactly 2 weeks from tomorrow. And a very quick and important programming note, my friend and colleague Joy Reid has the first one-on-one cable interview with the Vice President-elect on the readout.
So now it has reached the level of resistance that it was at previously, or support, I should say, before it popped up.
To the loved ones of victims, to everyday Americans who are just struggling right now. The emotional and mental toll of COVID, it is no secret. We're going to talk about what this has done to our mental health in this country. It's December, which is always a hard month for us.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Martin. When a hailstorm hit, he needed his insurance to get it done right away. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
Now, I do believe that even though Neil may drop for us, I think Neil will come down to 44.30. I think it'll drop $2 today. I really do. But I also think that Neil is still a very good contender, despite the bad news that we got.
But we call them all family. And everything's just better when you're with them. No matter how you family, it's better.
So I have no worries on Neo at the moment. I do believe Neo could definitely reach our trigger today if it maintains its level. Even if it drops down to the support down here of 44.30, where we want to sell it is 46.69. So it's kind of like a $3 run, which we know it can do. A little optimistic here on this one. Neo is a good stock. The news is making a sell-off. If not, it probably would have went all the way up to $48, $47. So we'll see. It may just come back down to 45, 55 right here. Okay. Giving us about
irresistibly smooth chocolate.
So if it comes down to there, that gives us about a 70 cents drop from where we bought in it.
Lindor, made to melt you by the Mint Master Chocolatier.
I am mad at myself that I didn't realize how many shares I had already set in for that. I have it all set and ready to go, and bam. Didn't realize that I only got what I was going to get from Moderna. Moderna finally reaches the 45 mark. It goes past that, goes to 46, but it's already at overbought. It was already at overbought. So I made the safe play on that. We decided to get into Neo, which is dropping, even though with the news that broke out with that President Trump signed a bill, increased fears in the coronavirus strain in the UK is also weighing stocks down. So we do know that to be true, that the COVID is ramping up in the UK. So
This morning,
So if I have to hold on to Neo for another day, which is fine with me, I'm not worried at all about this stock dropping hard. Don't know if it's going to reach our level today. I do think we're still in reach to get that 55 cents mark that we're looking at today, because it's right here at resistance. And if we do see every time Neo does make a drop, it does go back over towards resistance. So we see that it dropped here, basically what it's doing from yesterday. Okay, and then as you can see, it pops up over the average. I mean, it does that every single time. So hopefully today is no exception. Today it does the same thing. And, you know, hopefully that does that for us. So we're using our levels of support and resistance along with the news of weighing down the stocks because of the ramp of the virus in UK, and then the possible delisting of Chinese stocks. Well, we knew that was going to happen, and we did also know that Neo was not in jeopardy. So, but it looks like it might be.
It's not the only solution that we've got. It's just one more tool in the tool chest. And certified peer specialists are another one of those tools in the tool chest that could really bring mental health services out to a lot more people in the coming weeks and months.
What has this pandemic done to our healers, our healthcare workers who've been on the front lines day in and day out? Are you worried that the toll it's taking on them goes far beyond just job burnout?
Absolutely. They've been taking it on the chin here, and we have been doing our part to keep ourselves healthy.
It's J Maya. What's J Maya doing? I was looking at Lee also. Lee doing the same thing that Neo is doing. And we see Tesla dropping massively.
If we lose a substantial percentage of those, we're not only going to not get the health care we need moving forward, we're not going to be able to get the kinds of services and supports across the board.
It's a lot of mixed green and red. On my lower watch list, everything is mostly red. On my top watch list, the top one, it's a lot of mix, more red than green though. But we'll see. So we'll see. We're not looking for much. We're just looking for 55 cents. We do know that this can reach it. So we'll see. As it approaches the level of resistance that I was having a hard time breaking previously. So some of the stocks are starting to pick up.
And so we've got to be willing to understand that mental health issues are focused and concentrated primarily in our kids. And yet our public policy has really looked more toward later stage crisis interventions for people, what I call stage 4 activities, not recognizing that with mental health conditions like
46, 67. So we know it can reach that. The level 2 is showing that it's struggling in the levels that it's at right now, but with a possible pop going up. We do have a massive amount of volume coming in, so we can definitely see a pop.
People are lonely, people are suffering. It's always difficult during the holidays, especially this year. If you can help a friend, a neighbor, reach out. Paul, thank you so much. And if you know anyone who is seriously struggling, know that there is help out there. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. You matter. We care about you every day. We're here for you. Thank you so much for watching. Hallie Jackson picks up coverage.
This year we decided to host for the holidays.
It was a tight squeeze. Turns out to cook a whole dinner, you need a whole kitchen. We found out with Rocket Mortgage looking at loan options for our next kitchen was easy.
Rocket Mortgage was another stock I was looking at.
I think her family really enjoyed it.
When you're ready for a home that's fit for the holidays and your budget, Rocket can.
Things are a bit different this season.
So if it doesn't reach our level of where we want it to get, I'm just gonna lower it to
Test hospitals here.
if it gives us an opportunity. So I'm gonna wait this out.
Select from drive-through or at-home options.
Because I just might drop it down here. This will give me a $5 run or a $5 gain if I sell it right here, $46.38. So we're gonna see. Hopefully, it can pass that, which it already has. So that level being the level of resistance.
Where are my keys? My glass head. Wait, how are you doing this? Focus factor.
Focus factor has been clinically shown to improve memory, concentration, and focus. It improves verbal learning and short-term memory by 44%.
Because if it reaches our level, it'll start being an overbought, which gives us maybe about 2 minutes of it being in that territory before it starts to sell off. I don't want to lower my trigger just yet.
When a small business gets real, Progressive helps protect what you built with customizable coverage.
So we're about 30 cents away from where we want to get it at.
And unlike standard robots that bounce around, it cleans row by row. If it's not sharp, it's just a robot.
Robinhood believes now is the time to do money without the commission fees, so you can start investing today, wherever you are, even hanging with your dog. So, what are you waiting for?
So we're 30 cents away, 20 cents away, 25 cents away from our trigger.
Internet and phone bill, it just doesn't add up. I'm paying hundreds more per year than what I signed up for.
So close to our trigger. Can it pop up over it? We're so close. Will it hit it? Will it hit it? Will it hit it? We're too. Oh, and we got it, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful, beautiful run. As we knew that Neo was going to pop up over because it was still in reach of it going up past this level of resistance. So the next level I believe it can reach, it definitely can reach 46. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a trigger there. I do believe that Neo's going to go high today. But I don't know how much higher it's going to go. I do believe it'll reach that level right there. So we know that stocks work on a pendulum, right? So we do know that it can when it goes down, it'll go down a lot more than it will go up. It's like gravity, So we'll take this for example. So as stocks start to go up, right? They'll have these waves when it starts to go up. Now, if you have a couple of days of it going up, 3-4 days of it continues to go up with those waves that it has constantly, you start to see when it does sell off, like a cool off period, what you start to notice is what it dropped. It can definitely pick up half of that. It can definitely pick up half of that, as we can see here. So it dropped at 44.40, and it came all the way back up to 45.93. So it did gain half of what it dropped, right? So after that, and that was today's action. So knowing that, right? Knowing that, factoring that in. So it came from 46.85. So after dropping almost $2 down here, picking up half of what it dropped, right? So we do know that it can do another half of that. So even if it came back down to this level, we know that it can definitely reach half a dollar, 50 cents, 55 cents, 70 cents, stuff like that. Now for it to surpass that, it needs to have an amazing day, like a good catalyst, because it already dropped $2. It's already picked up all of that already from yesterday, all of that already. So it could definitely pop up another maybe 40 cents from there. So maybe 46.98 will be that mark that it reaches today. Now, if it wouldn't have this massive drop all the way here, so let's just say that it did drop somewhat, and it dropped maybe down to right here maybe, or even right here. Okay, this being where it bounced back. So 46.15. So say it would have dropped down to that at least, right? And we were trading around that area there, and it's still being close to where it'd be a nice area to get into, right? Then you can definitely see these deviation lines drop a little bit, so we can definitely see this reaching this level close to oversold, which we still have one more line of oversold to get to, okay, which is that level right there. So, you know, you go based on price action, support, and resistance. So I had no fear of this getting or not reaching my level. I know that I could have reached it, which it did, but I was also kind of worried because of the fact that, you know, it was having a hard time breaking this level here, which would have gave me like a 22 cents gain, and we didn't want to do a 22 cents gain. So what I did was it gave us multiple opportunities to get out, as we can see here. Let me zoom this in real quick for you guys so you can see. So as it gave us multiple, let me get rid of some of these lines so that way you can really see. Okay, so 46.20 was the level of the resistance that was having a hard time. It gave us multiple opportunities to get out, which is right here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then on the 10th one, I'm like, you know what? Let me just wait. And then I found this a new level of resistance right here, 46.40, which would have gave me a 30 cents gain. So not too bad. I would have been happy with the $8, $7 run if it gave me the opportunity to get out because it didn't want to break that level. But there's two things that could happen with a breakout. Okay, so if you're trading at resistance and support for quite a minute, okay, and the volume starts to pick up, that could definitely mean that a pop is going to happen because it's trading between resistance and support. It has dropped a lot because of the news today. We got a double whammy. We got the whole delisting thing, and we also got the COVID strand ramping through. I don't know, it's a new strand or some new development in the fucking virus. I don't fucking know. So we had those two whammies come in, but then we also have the Moderna vaccine rolling out over the weekend, and we have the stimulus package about to come out. Okay, so this gives us, guys, I believe this gives us like, I'm gonna transport these, this trade over.
Dangerous for some individuals.
All right, so yeah, we're doing well with the small account challenge. We're ramping up our gains. We're doing from $1 something to 3 to 5 to 8 or more, but we're going for double digits. So $10 and up a day is what we're trying to get now. If it's anything lower than that, it's probably because, like for example, today we were going to sell it just a little bit lower because of the level of resistance that was having a hard time breaking, giving us multiple chances. Normally when it gives you like a third chance, then you should just take it. But number one, NEO for me is a good stock. It has a lot of good opportunities for this thing to keep ramping up. I don't believe that this delisting thing is going to happen. I think Trump is just, pissed off because he lost. So I do believe okay, so me getting into NEO, where I got in right here on this candle, the first candle. Okay, we're gonna keep this here. The reason I got in here was because it already crossed over here. Okay, all my lines were underneath it, not giving me. So when these start to separate, these blue, yellow, green, and pink, when they start to separate, that means kind of like a microphone, like a megaphone. Megaphones. So that means that when these start to separate, getting farther away from each other, this should normally pop, and it normally does, and it actually did, but for a small pop until we finally got one over here. So I did get in using my lines. I did give it time to run. I didn't want to get on the second candle here, but I'm just like, I got to see where it's going. All right, so let me go ahead and transport these real quick so we can see where we're at for the month.
Which is good news if you're wondering what this means for people as the vaccine gets rolled out. We're actually going to have more here on that live later in the show with a doctor in the UK. We're also going to have more live on the Moderna vaccine rollout that is happening as we speak. Tom, I want to go to you first on this, though, because as that is happening, right, we're getting new info from the CDC on who actually could be next to get those shots in arms.
Yeah, that's right. And let's start with the Moderna vaccine because we have nearly 6 million doses of that rolling out nationwide today after the emergency authorization from the FDA late on Friday. So that's 6 million Moderna doses in addition to another 2 million Pfizer doses rolling out nationwide today. Now, as you mentioned, there was also a controversy over the last week or so. Some states claiming they're not getting the amount of Pfizer vaccine this week that they've been promised. And then on Saturday, the chief of Operation Warp Speed really did an amazing mea culpa. And he said, you're right, my fault, my bad, I screwed up, I'm fixing the problem, and we're going to get it right. So really an astonishing candor from the chief of Operation Warp Speed. And now on that CDC advisory that you talked about, the priority this week continues to be frontline medical workers as well as nursing home residents and staff. And now the CDC has laid out who would be next. So this week, it continues to be Group 1A as an alpha. Next week, we have Group 1, we could have as soon as next week, 1B as in Bravo. That would be age 75 and older and continuing with essential workers. But now we go to emergency responders, teachers, postal workers, grocery store workers, and the like. And then 1C would be after that, age 65 to 74, and those with high-risk medical conditions, I should say, and other essential workers. There are several different ways to calculate how many people are considered.
All right, guys.
And by the way, the TSA is right now pushing.
So let me pull up. So we're at $91 for the month so far. With the small count challenge, trading a little bit higher stocks than what normal people would trade with a small account. So we're at $91 for the month so far. Real deal, you know. Trying to show people that, you know, learning levels of support and resistance when trading, doing your homework, your due diligence. You know, seeing what's hotter and whatnot, going over your watch list, you know, everything tells you a story, you know, and then we have these cliff notes that pop up, and the cliff notes would be the news. The news are the cliff notes, you know, so any breaking news are the cliff notes like that. So every stock has a story. The price action tells a story. The
Clear choice. I've been doing this for many years, and I think we truly
support and resistance definitely works. It does tell you a story as well. So the reason.
Talk to us. You're going to get an education on what inputs are.
So we haven't been trading the higher cap stocks, the larger cap stocks like W and Zoom and Roku and them. One is because I believe that the cheaper stocks that are good, if we can find some cheaper good stocks like we have, you know, DKNG, Neo, JMaya, Wish has been included into that list because I do believe Wish is going to keep going real nice. I had this massive drop here. I did think of jumping in here on this. If we would have got in here, we would have got $1 run. Real nice dollar run from here to here. At least, yeah. So, you know, very transparent with everything that we're doing. I'm not a guru trader by any means. I still have things to learn, but, you know, I've been very consistent in learning the stock market. And, you know, I surround myself with some smart people that, you know, just smart in life, but, you know, also have a decent understanding of the stock market, and we chat back and forth. It's always a good thing to surround yourself with a positive group. You know, you might find them anywhere. You might find them at work. You might find them outside of work, but, you know, ambitious, you know, positive people is always a good thing that you need in your life. And then when it comes to stocks, you definitely need to, learn the story. So, I wanted to do the small account challenge to show people that you can make money with a small account if you do it right. So, you're learning the support and resistance, learning what the stock does, learning that news can affect the stock. And then, if you go the other route with the Momos, then it's a different way of trading. You really need to be quick. You need to have a platform that's pretty quick because, and we take a look at these Momo stocks, like what was hot today? WBAI sounds like a stock I traded back then. WBAI. So if we'll see if this does. Okay, so perfect example of why you would need. So this stock lived here at 286 for fucking ever, I guess. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, so 255 is pretty much where it fucking lived like forever. If we take a look at the 180 chart, we do see that we had a couple pops. One pop being here, another pop being here, and another pop being here. Seeing that it's already reached those pops, but and this continues to go up, which is pretty fucking phenomenal off of what news?
You can only rent it when you need answers first thing in the morning.
What prevents the president from doing something extremely destructive in anger?
You need to go deep inside the story.
I don't see anything really why this thing is popping up as much as it is. But that's an impressive move. But I need to give you a better example. So let's do the other one. EYE. This is a stock I think I definitely traded back in the day.
So today,
yep, this is a stock I definitely traded back in the day. Okay, so let's get rid of all these old lines.
Getting their first doses today in public with the Bidens.
Platforms run a little slow. All right, so we'll take a look at this one. Okay, so we can see that this was at a 356 stock trading for quite some time. That low, and then it ramped up $3. Right here. This was at 4 in the morning. Okay, so it already had its run, and it lost a bunch of Momo. So basically, when you're going to trade stock like this, like at our hot for the day, you need to see where it came from. And if it's been trading that low forever, and whatever stupid news came out that made this pop up to here, the $3 that it did, and then eventually going past that over here, so it had its 2 runs. Okay, already. So. You need to be quick with this because sometimes as soon as the bell rings, this thing can ramp up. For such a cheap stock, this thing went from $7.45 to $18.18. So that's what, like a 60-some cent run right there. So you want to capitalize on that, right? So let's say that you want to get in here. So you put it in, if you have a quick platform, that you can definitely get in and out quick. But Thinkorswim is not quick when it comes to the first candle opening up. And we can see it already did most of its run pre-market. So to really capitalize on some of these stocks, sometimes pre-market it's where it's at. And we'll take a look at another one real quick. NES. I don't like trading them because you can. It's stressful as fuck, man. All right, so we have another one here that was at 234 for fucking ever, and some news came out at 5:30. Adopts limited duration rights plan. I don't know. So we see that it went from here and it went all the way up to here, about $1 run. It jumped up $1, then it dropped all that and came back here. I don't know, man. I'd rather just trade my stocks. So stocks I like. But so going again with the small account challenge. So I mean, the thing is, with everything that I've learned and I've acquired, so this did pass what we did think it was going to go. So the next level would be 47 39 would be the next level of high that I believe I can go. So we'll do 47.40. Why do I believe 47.43? Because 47.43 was pretty much almost the high of yesterday, and it's already approaching that. We're already at overbought on NEO right now, so it might cool down a little bit before it pops back up.
That's right. He's talking about Sidney Powell.
So again, real quick, we'll recap.
Detail, Ali, was a few weeks ago when the Trump legal team was distancing themselves from her after.
So small account challenge again. So I want people to learn, as I did. You can trade higher price stocks, but you need to give yourself a level of certainty that that a stock can reach. So if we're looking for home run hits, you can definitely get them. But I in my mind, I think you'll be less successful that way, because you could be a 50-50 trader, or say 55 to let's say 45, or it gives you that much. I mean, you're making a little bit more than you would going for home runs like that. But the thing is, for me, is consistency. So we're consistent making these base hits, trading these higher price stocks with a small account. You tend to think, oh man, this stock is like $50, $80, $100. I'm not going to make money with $1,000, $1,700. It's just not going to happen. And it's not true. It can make money. I've made money. This is the third time we go back down to this low account, and this is going to be the last. So, but this time I decided to, record it and see and show people that it is possible. Now we're going to have red days, but we're going to cut those off. But we like to trade stocks that have the potential to keep going. That they've lost some momentum, but they can definitely keep going up higher and higher. So, NEO is one of those. DKNG is one. JMI is another. Wish is new. It's a new IPO. So we definitely don't know where that can go, if it's going to keep going higher or lower or what. But I think it's going to go higher because it's a good company. They've improved a lot. But, so we trade stocks that we know, has the potential to go back up. So if we happen to get in the wrong position or the wrong entry, the setup was there, following everything that you give yourself, you do the whole money management thing, the whole risk management, give yourself an exit, how much you're willing to lose in a trade, stuff like that. So, and then, also doing your homework on it, where can the stock go? Where was it at? Support, resistance. So we do see NEO is passing all our levels of resistance. So we're going to go ahead and remove some of this stuff, make it a little bit cleaner. Okay. I'm going to keep that pink one there because that's where basically we got in, right? We're going to get rid of this level here, and we're going to get rid of this level here. All right? We're going to just keep the levels that we had previously. All right. So we do know that this is the low of going back here from yesterday, and yesterday the mark was 47.43. So can it reach that today? It definitely can. It looks like it wants to already surpass that. So we're like 7 cents away from reaching 47.40. I believe that once it reaches that level, it might just pop back down. I think that's the highest it'll go today.
You wash your hands every day, but what about your nose, the body's air filter? Navage uses
it's going to break it. It's going to go there.
Flush out dangerous germs, and it relieves congestion without drugs. More than
as we knew it would. All right, so I believe that's the highest that NEO is going to go today. It can definitely reach this 48, this blue level here. I don't know if it will though, but it definitely can. I don't know if it'll go to $49 today. As you can see here, this level here, 48.60, is a level from would have been the next level of resistance that we would have had. That is coming back from all the way from last month. that being the level of resistance that I was having a hard time breaking. It did pop up over that, then came back down, and then it was trading above that for a minute, came back down, trading below that, hitting that every fucking time before it comes back down. And then the level before that would be the 40 would be 47.43, which would be the level of resistance currently that it's having a hard time breaking. So we do all this, we do our homework for all that, and that gives us a story. Read the story, you know. They're short stories, so even if you're not a book reader, or they're very short stories, you know, you just start looking through things, and the price action tells you a huge story. And these little breaking news that come out during the trading gives it a different story, or just adds on their cliff notes, is what they are. All right, so we'll take a recap real quick of what we're looking at. So I got this new mouse. It's a wireless gaming mouse. It's pretty dope, huh? You can see that right there. I like it. It's pretty cool. So Neo, we know we won Neo. We do know that Neo. So we believe that Neo's gonna. So it reached the 47 mark. Maybe it'll go. It's already way overbought. So we do know that that's gonna come to an end pretty soon. So it did reach 47.43. Maybe it reaches 47.50, which it already has. So 48.15 will be the next level, and then 48.60. So 48.15 will be the next level. So we do know that Neo has made a major comeback. Already $3 from the low of the pre-market. So we do know that Neo has already reached its limit, because $3 is what it can move. All right. So we'll take a recap, we'll take a look at everything else before I get out of here. So we'll go in order. We'll do Moderna. So Moderna, as we see, I think it's not going to go any higher than that. It may drop a little bit, but so we didn't get into Moderna, even though it was a stock we were looking at because of the news. We do know that it was awesome. It did end up reaching the $5 mark that we wanted to get into, if we would have got into it. So we would have got in here at 41.21. We were looking for a $5 run. As we can see, it finally did reach it over here. But the reason we didn't get in is because it was already at overbought, massively overbought. And we knew that it was going to come and simmer down for a little bit. So after it being a decent level of resistance, being already at resistance, of support. So I found support at resistance of the deviation lines before it popping up. So we have a solid 10 minutes of being at this level before it pops up. Okay, so if we would have gotten here, say if this wasn't an overbought, we would have gotten here, and maybe we would have saw that this being such an expensive stock and being a biotech stock, any bad news can make this thing tumble like $50-$60 in one day. I've seen it happen. So I don't like holding on to biotech stocks, but let's just say that we saw that this was the level of resistance that it was having a hard time breaking, so we would have sold it there, giving us a second opportunity right here. So that would have been a $4 run, right? So say we would have gotten here, I know I would have, even if it wasn't that overbought already. So that would have gave us what, 141.32, selling it at 144.93. So about a $2 and change run. Not what we would have wanted for such an expensive stock. If this was any other stock being where it was at, I probably would have got it because of the fact that it's also very low. It's trading low compared to the recent highs, and I'm going to pop that up for you so you can take a look at real quick what I'm looking at. Alright, so as we can see on the 180 chart, right, so that's what I mean by low. So we do know that they did have a high here of 178, then they tried to come back that $2 below that. But as we can see here that it's already trading at support, to the low support of 136.89. So the next level of resistance will be 144.24, which it already surpassed. Then the next level of resistance will be 147.60, I believe it was. What is this? 147.60. So that's the next level of resistance, which is like 40 cents away from that. Once it passes that, then we can go up here. So as you can see, on this chart here, it tells us that we do have room to go, being the most recent high, and the news tells us that this can definitely be a contender to go. But holding on to a biotech stock for more than 1 day is kind of risky because any bad news on any amount of drugs they have out, because remember, these biotech stocks have more than just the COVID they're working on. So if any bad news comes out of any of those drugs that they're fucking developed, already out in the market, or about to develop, or whatever phase they're in, can definitely cause the stock to go down. But then not just that, we take a look at the 10-minute. So what does the 10-minute story tell us? Let me go ahead and... So 10 minutes tells us that the swing traders are probably about to come in now, because there are people that will hold on to this, seeing that they're going to come in now after this massive sell-off in the last 4 days, and starting to come back up, curl back up to 147.60. So I say swing traders will get into this, and they'll probably sell it right here at 157, being the next level of resistance support that it was at. So we can see that on these different time frames that we do have room to grow. Okay. So Moderna, but Moderna being a biotech stock is on a stock that I'm interested in getting into, holding it for more than 1 day.
Or otherwise, these folks aren't facing consequences to their attacks on this country.
All right, so we'll talk about DraftKings real quick. Why DraftKings would have been a stock that I was probably going to get into if I didn't see NEO do what it did. So we'll take a look at the higher and shorter time frames before I end up going out. So we see here that on the 5-day, 5-minute time frame, it went up massively the last 3 days. Then it came back down to old resistance of 51.15. Okay, pre-market. That had to do with the whole COVID thing, I think it had to do. Then it comes back up here to old support. That's where it's trading at. So it did look good to me because of that. Because knowing also that this, I'll show you, has room to go to being 64.75. So being where it's at right now, we see that the next level of resistance would be 53.89, then 55.84. So we definitely are in range of that, and we're definitely close to support. So we definitely can see that it has potential to grow, even though, so this massive drop is what makes me think, okay, this is good. So it did what it had to do for it to keep going up. Seeing here that it did pop up for us at the open, I believe it did. So, you know, it did this massive sell-off. It did recover all of that from yesterday's resistance at 54.17. So it did already come up $4. So we do know that it already came up $4. It's not going to go up another $4, but we do know that it could go 50 cents for a pop. So we do see here what 52.07 to 53.18. So you know, it's $1 pop right there. So we do see that. So you have to gauge it where it's at, what it can do. How much money did it already recover from the drop? So we do know that this is a, you know, it could be a $4 or $5 mover, real nice. It already recovered $4 from where it was at. So the pops going further from there would be maybe $1 or so. 51.93, 53.71. So about $1. About $1 and some change from that. So you can see, so we do half a pop, you know. So from this point on, we would have got in here at 53.22 to a high of 54.22. So about $1 run. So we see that DKNG are doing dollar pops, which is pretty cool. We know DKNG can do that. So that's what we do, guys. You know, we go down these time frames, and it tells us a story. So does DKNG have the potential to go up after this massive drop? It sure does, but you want to make sure that you read the news on it of why it did this massive drop. We do know that this massive drop here was because of the bill that didn't pass the Senate floor in whatever state or whatever dropped massively, and then it dropped again and it recovered. So I do think that DKNG is still a good play. Alright guys, so we're $92 green for the month of December. We took a $55 gain, or 55 cents gain on that, giving us an $11 profit today, raising the capital little by little as we go, and we're going to keep doing that every single day, guys, doing pop hits. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get ready for my jog and get ready for my day right after that. We do see that the markets are still going down further. So good thing we got out of the stocks that we got out of. At least I did. And we see that Lee took a massive, super high run. We'll see. Alright, guys, I'm out of here, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. I will send my picks out tonight, later on tonight. Have a great day. For those of you that have to go to work, have a good day at work. I know I will. Alright, guys, have a good one.
I just didn't have to work so hard to remember things.